now to the midterm elections. San Diego County will release more results today. We did get an update yesterday afternoon.
Yes, so where do things stand right now? Political analyst Laura Fink and Andrea Kaye here to discuss more on this. Ladies, thanks so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. So we got some more data that came in. A data dump came in, and it changed a little bit of the race with Levin Marriott. Andrea, why don't we start with you? Still looks like it's going in Levin's favor at this point.
Yeah, I would love to say, as a Republican and as a conservative, I would love to say that Brian Marriott's going to take this in the end, but I have to put my money on Levin at this point that will keep the seat.
Yeah.
Okay. Laura, your thoughts on that one?
I would just say this is a Democratic district by the numbers, and so it was a longer shot, and we saw the way the tide turned for the Republican Party nationally, so this was a hold for Levin.
And I will say, looking at the national picture with this particular race, Biden came to town to support Levin in his attempts to win this, thinking this might have a big national impact. But right now, it doesn't look like it does. We're looking at the House leaning Republican. What are your thoughts on that national picture?
Well, I think that it's unfortunate, actually. I think that here we are Friday, a few days after the midterms, and we still don't have results.
Right.
I really think that that's unfortunate for the country. So, and whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, I think that I would like to advocate that we go back to a time in which we have election day. I mean, I think we're approaching election year, right? I think in general, I think the Republicans will probably take control of not just the House, but also the Senate as well. I predict that. I think there's lots of discussion today about whether or not it was the red wave it was supposed to be. I think the Republicans are going to take control, and I think that whether or not it's a large margin or not, that will be a win for the Republican Party.
Laura, it looks like Arizona's probably going to go blue at this point. Thoughts on how razor thin some of these races have been and for the Senate?
It is remarkable. It's also remarkable how talented the candidates are that are winning them, whether you're talking about John Fetterman in Pennsylvania and his ability to not compete just within the cities, but also in rural areas where Trump won, and to take votes there. He really rebuilt the Obama coalition. Catherine Cortez Masto, who's fighting a razor-thin race, dug in and was able to talk about the economy and abortion rights, and was able to do so with working-class voters, with high inflation, with high presidential disapproval. So I think that speaks to the talent and the quality of the candidates that are winning these tight races.
Yeah, when you look at Nevada, I worked in Reno for many years, so it's so interesting. All the candidates come there. They really want to win Reno, or Nevada, I should say. And right now you're seeing, you know, this blue sliver in the north and a blue sliver in the south. Right. It's still a toss-up at this point. Do you have thoughts on that one? I mean, it's Laxalt versus Cortez Masto, and the bulk of the state is red, but it's still a toss-up, it looks like.
Well, it does, and I wish we could sit here today and say with clarity and with some type of quantitative measurement who's going to pull it out on the end. And I think that's one reason why it's kind of unfortunate. I do predict, though, when it comes to Arizona, I think we've got more of an ability to predict there, and I actually predict that Carrie Lake will win the governor's race there.
Governors.
I do.
A lot of both sides claiming victories this midterm, but it's tough to tell who was the clear winner. In your eyes, Andrea, who won the midterms?
Well, I think that's yet to be determined, like I said, and it's unfortunate. I think it's unfair to the voters, and I think that what we saw going on and what we continue to see in Arizona should be a concern to everybody. I think it's been run with a large measure of complete incompetence. There were people of all stripes that had to turn away and walk away when 20% of the machines in Maricopa were failing, and that's a fail on the citizens of everybody in this country. I think when you look at the ballots that are left to be counted in Arizona, the insiders for both sides of the aisle will say that the ballots that are left to come in, the ballot drops, heavily favor Carrie Lake. And at this point, there are many that say that there's not a pathway to victory for Katie Hobbs.
Laura, I want to let you chime in on that, because we know that's been a big controversial part of all of this.
I want to speak to election integrity in Arizona specifically, and I don't think that slow means corrupt. Slow means careful. In Arizona, you have a Republican and a Democrat checking every ballot in question, hand checking it. So they have a system there born of concern for election integrity, and so they focus on that. That's why there's a delay. A delay does not, a delay at the airport does not mean you are less safe when you get on the plane. And so I think it's really important that we have these open conversations and that we speak to the real issues here. If there's any sort of riffraff going on, we have courts, we have processes, we have all of these things to measure it. But to question the integrity of elections without evidence, I think leads to distrust in the system, and I think that's bad for small d democracy and for all parties.
Okay.
Hoping to learn more next week.
Right.
Some of those numbers, and then of course with the runoff election. election happening in Georgia.
It all comes down to Georgia by December. We may know
we are,
who
ladies.
controls the Senate.
Andrea, Laura, thanks so much for coming in, ladies. Really
Thank
appreciate
you
your
very
time and
much.
your insight. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.